welcome back. Today we're going to go ahead and seed start some Rudbeckia, otherwise known as black-eyed Susan. Earlier we did some seed starting with my perennials, the ones that my mom harvested from her own house, and some other ones that I got from my farm share. I also did some winter sowing with some of my annual Rudbeckias already too, like my Cherokee ones, and a few others that I got from the free heirloom seeds. So if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check that out. You still could probably go ahead and get some seeds. So today we're doing the annual ones that need 6 to 8 weeks to go ahead and seed start. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Christy. I am located in Western Massachusetts, Zone 6A, with an average last frost date of May 15th. And we are still in the seed starting mix. I have been potting up my dahlias. I've been potting up my tomatoes, as you see behind me. I'm still going ahead, and I have a few more rows left. So we have been super busy. So today, I'm only going to go ahead and do a handful of them. I'm going to use my 6-cell trays. I'm just reusing some ones that I had from potting up. So we're only going to do a few different varieties. So one that I am super duper excited about is the Black-Eyed Susan Vine. So I didn't know there was actually a vine variety of the Black-Eyed Susan. Now I love it. I really want to go ahead and put this in some pots by my back deck, so that way you can go ahead and make a nice little floral barrier around the fencing. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I have some more Black-Eyed Susans from my farm share. This is going to be the Indian blanket variety. This one you'll see me going ahead and doing a big pinch of it because I didn't go ahead and separate the chaff from the actual seed. They're just too small and it's way too time consuming. So I'm going to go ahead and get a few more of these started. I did a lot of winter sowing, but it's always nice to have some backups. I plan on doing a whole entire border in my front yard of this actual seed. And then I also have some Goldilocks Rudbeckia. I got this from the free heirloom seeds. So we're going to go ahead and get some of those. And then somehow I managed to score some Black-Eyed Susans from Floret, which I am super excited to go ahead. So that way, hopefully I can go ahead and harvest some seeds for many years to come. Before we get started, we're going to talk about some of the reasons why I love Black-Eyed Susans and why you should go ahead and get them into your garden. So one reason is it has long-lasting blooms, and that is the biggest reason why I love Rudbeckia or Black-Eyed Susan is because it's going to go ahead and it's going to bloom from summer to fall, which also brings up the point that you're going to have some fall foliage, you're going to have some flowers still blooming in the cooler season. They had this at my farm share, and that is why I have literally a big bag full of them, which I love. So it's great for making bouquets. So you can use it for cut flowers. There's just so many different varieties out there. It's not your just traditional Black-Eyed Susans with the yellow and then the darker center. They just have so many different varieties. So I did go ahead and get some, like I said, from winter sowing. And we're going to go ahead and do some today, like the Goldilocks. So it's just going to have different patterns with their petals, which I'm super excited about. Another great one is that it's going to attract those pollinators, those beneficial ones that you want, like the bees and the butterflies. So that's one reason why I want to go ahead and put a big border in my front yard, is because we are just surrounded by trees. Lots and lots of pine trees. Like I said, we didn't have any type of flowers here, so I really want to go ahead and just draw them in from maybe the neighbors across the street because they do have flowers. We are set back more in the woods while they are more on old farmland, so they don't have like the big trees like we do surrounding here. So I want all of those beneficial insects. Also, it is deer and rabbit resistant. While I feel like not everything is deer resistant, we don't have deers here, but I do have rabbits, so I'm really hoping that these flowers will go ahead and outlast my pesky rabbit, who I actually haven't seen around. So I'm hoping maybe this rabbit has found a new home. Also, it is drought tolerant. Oh my gosh, that is a huge one for me too, because it is hard to go ahead and make sure you get everything watered, especially if you work like a 9-to-5 job. So I work 8:30 to 4:30, but I leave my house by 7:30, 7:40. I have my kids that have to go to school too, and then by the time you get them from school, bring them home, make dinner, the last thing you want to do is just stand outside and water everything. So if you can give them like a really good soaking, maybe even just once or twice a week, you still have to go ahead and keep watering them as they are establishing their roots. But once you plant them out, give them a few weeks, and then maybe they just need that 1 or 2 really good soak, and they're going to be good to go. You get a rain shower, great. You're going to keep extending that time for when you have to go ahead and water it again. So that's what I want. I want some drought-resistant plants, and these are native plants. So that means it's going to go ahead and adapt to the climate well because it is native to where I live. So I am hoping that between this and the fact that they self-seed really well. Another thing, I want to go ahead and harvest seeds, but I really want to go ahead and give them some good spacing. Like even if it's maybe 12 to 18 inches that it does suggest, instead of jam-packing them a little bit like my farm share does. They did get that powdery mildew towards the end of the year. I want to go ahead, space them out, let them self-seed so then next year I have some more blooms come up. And then over the years, you can go ahead and divide or just collect some more seeds. So those are some of the reasons why I'm very excited to go ahead. And they're also just like little mini sunflowers. I feel like when I would go ahead and have like a huge vase of them, it's just like a little vase of sunshine. I just love the bright yellows. So that is why we're going to go ahead and seed start some more. Like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and use these 6 cell counts. I'm not going to do a ton. I'll probably do a pinch in each and then pot them up as we get going. I just have so many from winter sowing. But this is just like my backup, my little insurance policy. And then my floret ones, I also wanted to baby because, again, I'm just so sad I wasn't able to get any this year. I just, missed that, gardening rush from the years past. So getting into the game a little bit late, but that's okay. If I can go ahead and get some little on until she go ahead and releases more, I am going to be just happy. So let's get going. So as always, we're going to start with our seed starting mix. Nothing has changed here. I really like the Espoma seed starting mix. I just go ahead and pre-moisten it and I give it a really good mix. And if you're new to going ahead and seed starting, this is a great one too because they're fairly easy to go ahead and get started. So with your seed starting mix, you're just going to add some water. And then I just like to go ahead and give it a good squeeze. If it holds its form, but it's not having all those water droplets come out, you are good to go. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to fill this up. And I like to compress. I have learned, and I have still see in my trays right now that some of my cells, I don't compress it enough. And when I go ahead and bottom water, I will have a handful of cells that unfortunately just don't soak up the water, even though I feel like I put so much in there before I go ahead and dump the rest out. And that is because there's air pockets I'm sure I missed. So that's why I really like these 6 cell ones. You really can get in there. You'll notice more compared to when I do like the 40 cell count. Sometimes I feel like I'm just rushing and I think I squished everything in and I did not. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start with 4 for now. But you never know. I always tend to overseed. I plan on doing some more potting up. We are going to have an almost 70-degree weather day on Saturday. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to rain, but I really want to go ahead and just commit my Saturday to finishing the greenhouse. I did as much as I could building inside before it wouldn't fit out if I did the panels in. And so I'm waiting for that to go ahead and do this weekend. So I'm hoping by Saturday it will be up. And then on Sunday, thank you, New England, we're dropping back down to the 40s. So it's just that high-low of it's almost spring, and then it's like, oh no, winter is still here. So I'm just going to go ahead and squish these in, and then we're going to make sure you label them. When you are seed starting Rudbeckia, you're going to go ahead and you're going to put it on a heat mat. I like to go ahead and set mine anywhere between 70 and 75 degrees for most of my flowers. Most of my dahlias have germinated, so I'm actually going to move them to their own smaller heat mat in case if I need space and I want to bump these up a little bit. But I feel like most have germinated, but I'm going to be going and doing a second round once I get my seeds in from some seed swapping. I have a bunch that I'm hoping will come in soon, at least by this weekend, and then Sunday hopefully I can go ahead and get those started as well, because I feel like you can just not get enough dahlias. I am like obsessed. They are just so beautiful. And then the fact that when you go ahead and seed start them and you get to have some special little variety just for you, just makes it super fun. All right, so we have all 4. So we're gonna go ahead and I am gonna start with the vine. So I'm gonna, this one I might feel like I wanna do 2. I'm gonna start with 1. This one does say that it needs 8 weeks before your last frost and cover with 1/4 inch of soil. I know that my coworker really wants some of these. She usually does morning glories around her window boxes. But I told her about this and she's like, oh my gosh, I really had no idea, like myself included. Again, this is only my 2nd year gardening and this is going to be my first time really focusing on flowers. Last year, I was all about the vegetables. I feel like if you can't tell behind me, I kind of got the hang of it. Not that I'm any pro or anything, but at least I can do some simple tomatoes and peppers. Now, don't even ask me about zucchini and summer squash. When people would say that's like the easiest thing to go ahead and grow, not so much for me. All right. So again, we're going to do 70 to 75 degrees. Oh, shoot. And today is I want to say today's the 25th. We're going to go with that. My dahlias, I totally messed up into the wrong time, but that's okay. So these, again, we're sowing anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. The package says 8 weeks long. So we are going to get started with those. And I'm just going to go ahead and compress them in. So what I probably will do is I will probably put 2 per cell. So I have 6 here, so I'm going to have 12 sets, and then if both of them go ahead and germinate, then what I probably will do is I will just go ahead and separate them and divide them up because, like I said, my coworker would like some, but I really don't think I need like that many plants just for my small little fence area. So let's go ahead and get those in. All right. And literally, we're just going to go ahead and push them in. I'm probably just going to go ahead and add a little bit more soil on top. And then I'm going to go ahead and add vermiculite like I always do. And then we're going to go ahead and spray them in. Go ahead and do that right now. And it says like 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to bury it just ever so slightly. And make sure it has good contact with the soil. Or you could always go ahead and just make a little hole with like your little dauber. That's also perfect too. I've got a vermiculite. Again, this bag's gonna last me a long time. And luckily, as of now, I haven't had any issues with fungus gnats. I had those really bad actually last year. I'm not sure if it was from the soil that I used. I used different seed starting mix. I did use a spoma, but then I ran out. So I just went and got, I don't even remember what I had. And I had them all over the place, but I also think overwatering was definitely an issue too. All right, so we're gonna get these nice and moist on top, and we have 1 down. Simple as that. All right, so 1 down, 3 more to go. My area is a mess. So I'm just gonna go ahead, change the camera angle so you can see what I'm doing, and then we're gonna keep on going. All right, so hopefully that is a little bit better. I have so much stuff going on. This is a good disaster. So next we're gonna do the Goldilocks Rudbeckia. So it says spacing about 1 foot apart and can actually be transplanted or direct sown. So I got this one right here from Free Heirloom Seeds. And I actually wrote on the back that it says it's a very showy Rudbeckia. It has abundant semi-double blooms and you get about 50 or more seeds. So this one might also be one that I want to go ahead and add a little bit more. My husband's starting to say like, where do you plan on putting all of these? Because I'm running out of space. So I'm like, that's why we got to get the greenhouse up. So that way I can go ahead and move more of my perennials, especially my hollyhocks. I feel like they should go ahead and get out soon. And my coneflowers. So these I'm just going to go ahead and surface sow. They are so small. I'm really hoping they don't get lost in some of this mix. I'm just going to actually compress it down a little bit more. And I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle some and surface sow them. And I'm actually, again, heavy seeding as always, but I don't know, maybe it's because we harvested our own. They were a little bit spotty when I went and did those last time, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a bunch. Again, I can always go ahead and pot up. If you need extra pots and you're on a budget, I really highly suggest going to the Dollar Tree. I got, what was it? 12 of them for $1.25. They're 3-inch pots. Yes, they're flimsy. They might not last forever, but if you're just starting out, like someone like me, and you just don't want to go ahead and invest anything that is too expensive, I definitely go ahead and would do those. This is going to be the Goldilocks. Black-eyed Susan. We're just going to hope that today is the 25th. I should have just checked a minute ago, but that is okay. So I'm going to stick this in. I am going to put some vermiculite very finely down. I find that with the smaller seeds, I don't want to cover them too much. I'm going to just go ahead and lightly add a layer just to help with that moisture control, especially because, like, for me, I feel like I am on such a random schedule with bottom watering and watering everything. Like nothing is timed the same time. Like I just go ahead, I check the soil top, and if it looks like it's dry, I go ahead and I just bottom water, come back anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour later, dump the excess out, and that has been working very well for me. Sometimes though, like I had some tomatoes and they were extremely dry because I forgot about them. They're in the back. That's all right. I have extras. I'm not going to have a big deal or a fuss about it, but it happens. So, all right, next up. So we did the Goldilocks. We did the Black-Eyed Susan vine. I'm really trying to not overdo it. All right, so now we are going to do these floret ones that I got. I am super excited. Again, I'm like, I'm sure like everyone else is obsessing about all of her flowers. I don't have too many, so this will just barely go ahead and fill one. I got this with seed swapping, and there's a bunch stuck to the bottom, so maybe I can go ahead and get those after. All right, again, I'm gonna just take this and I'm actually just gonna go ahead and compact it, make sure I get any of these extra chunks. And I know this is repetitive and I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but for me, I am someone that learns by doing and watching, and if I see someone just repeating the same thing, it kind of just like really sticks. So that is just how I personally learn best. And I hope that will help someone else too. All right, there are a few stuck in the bottom, and I really don't want to damage the packaging, but I might have to figure out how to get them. Oh, there we go. So they're not so stuck. All right, got 2 more out of that. There's a few left, but that's okay. We'll leave them at the bottom. All right, again, we are going to go ahead and my Hot Mess Express. Again, this is, I feel like, my chaotic getting ready before the kids come back and I'm out of time. All right, so this is going to be Black-Eyed Susan floret. All right. And then the last one are going to be mine from the farm share. So again, let me just put some vermiculite on. And then zinnias. My goal is to try and get as much stuff out because I plan on starting a lot of zinnias. That is something that I also need to make sure that I don't go ahead and start too much of, which I think is going to be a problem. Only because I tend to just find a new variety. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have this. This is beautiful. Then you find a new color. You find, you know, different sizes. I found some dwarf ones I really wanted. So we have our floret ones all set, and then it just kind of spirals down. So I gotta learn, you know, next year I don't want to have to go ahead and have too many that I have to buy. So I gotta be, you know, a little cautious. All right, almost done because I just got a notification. It looks like the kids are back. So these are gonna be from my farm share. It does, I don't think you can really see it, but it has the chaff mix in. It is just way too hard and time consuming to go ahead, but these are so pretty. The wall, it was just like the sea of yellow. I think I've talked about it multiple times, and I really just want to replicate that. Like, I want people to drive by my house and be like, oh my, like they want to just go and like pick them, which I honestly wouldn't even mind. But I will say, because they did space them so tightly, and they get so big because so many people are cutting them, they are very prone to getting powdery mildew, and they were like actually like really gross by the end of the fall. I'm not gonna lie. All right, that is just gonna be dumped because I didn't do a very good job. I'm just gonna press these in and sprinkle any extra from my hand. And dash some on. Put a plant tag in, and we are going to go ahead and call it a day. And I call this a successful seed starting session, right? All right, so farm share, Black-Eyed Susan, and this is the Indian blanket. All right, and then we're just going to water it in, and we're going to be good to go. All right, and there you have it. We were able to go ahead and do 24 cells, which I'm sure is probably going to be more like 40 or 50 plants. Let's be honest, I heavily seed all the time, and you know, I deal with it later. That's what I always tell myself. So I hope this is helpful. Again, I know these are repetitive, but sometimes you might not want to go ahead and watch something about another flower. Black-eyed Susan, I feel like, is something you definitely want to go ahead, especially they're drought tolerant. They're native plants. They are great for pollinators. They're great for borders. They just have that nice showy feel to it. If you don't want to go ahead and do sunflowers, you'll still get that nice ray of sunshine in to your garden. So definitely go ahead, get yourself some Black-eyed Susans, and you know what, heck, if you need some seeds, go ahead and feel free to reach out to me because I have so many and I'm always happy to share. So again, thank you so much. If you want to go ahead and stay tuned with all these updates, go ahead, click like and subscribe and hit that bell button, and I will see you next time. Until then, happy planting.